Okay, welcome back, guys. Today we'll see more on the OAuth, and before that, we'll also try to create an issue in Jira when a test fails. Okay, and then we also learn about cookies, and then we'll also understand what is the problem with the current trust issue framework, um, and why we need to build a Docker image for this. Okay, so once we understood that, tomorrow we'll learn more about the Docker, and we'll build the image. Docker image, and we'll try to run it by pulling in the Docker image from the Docker hub. Okay, good. For now, let's start with Jira. So I hope you all have installed Jira in your Windows server, or you can also practice whatever the topic we are teaching in your office, because normally office will have their enterprise edition. Whatever I'm going to teach is going to remain the same for the office version as well as the local host, even if you're setting it in your local host. Okay, very simple installation process, guys. Just you need to accept all the stuff and generate the license, generate a username, and then finish your setup. It's very easy. And don't forget to choose the project that already exists. Okay, so that you don't have to create your project yourself. If it is your company, then they might have project already, so you can directly use it. Okay, oh, good. So now I have created a project called as demo project, and the key of the project is DEM. Okay, Jira will have its project key in 3 letters or 4 letters maximum, so that will be needed in order to create an issue in a particular project. Okay, we might have to give this key while constructing the request body. Good. Now I have already installed Jira from my side, so I can just say start Jira. Okay, there will be some apps like this if you search in the Windows. So start Jira server. So it basically triggers a bat file, and it opens a Tomcat server, and it gets your local Jira server up and running. Okay, so it will run on 8080, and so let's open the 8080. Okay, it may take a little bit of time, so wait for it. Okay, don't rush. In the meantime, we can also see Jira REST API docs, or how to create issue in Jira using REST API. Okay, now we're gonna go inside the developer.atlassian.com. So every company will have their own REST issue documents. Okay, here they have certain examples. See, this is REST API examples. Okay, so now we are telling you have the base URL, and you are telling REST API, and then the version of it, and then the project ID. Okay, so there are different ways of it. So project ID or key you can give if you want to get all the meta type issue types. Like the issue types endpoint will give you all the epic bug, uh, task, all those issue types that you can create in Jira. Okay, and if you also notice, creating an issue using a project key and the field names. So, if you want to create an issue, then you can use a format like this. Okay, there is a curl command, and -d is for the data, and then data is coming. For the data you refer to this. Okay, for the username they are using basic authentication. You can also use basic auth, or your bearer token. And this is a post request, and this is the data that we are going to see. I don't know why they are giving it 2 times. And yeah, header, you can pass the content type as application dation, and the endpoint is basically REST API/issue. Okay. Okay, now instead of this, if you are using an enterprise version of Jira, maybe you guys, someone has to go on mute. Okay. Okay, now, so if you're using enterprise edition of Jira, give your base URL. Just replace the base URL. Apart from that, the endpoint remains the same. Okay. Now they have something like this where they are mentioning which project you want to. Suppose you are using an enterprise version of Jira, you might have multiple versions, multiple projects. Okay. You need to create the issue in a particular project, right? So you have to mention the key of that particular project. Okay. In our case, it is DEM, because while creating, I have given the key as DEM, and the name of the project is demo project. Okay. And summary, you can give some summary and description of that particular issue. And issue type, if you're going to create a bug, then you can give issue type as bug. Okay, very simple. And you're gonna get the response that gonna have that the project ID hyphen the issue number. Okay, good. Now if you also want to create using project ID and issue type ID, so instead of telling issue type with the name of bug. You can also tell issue type as id as 1, okay, which gonna create that particular type of issue. But we are more comfortable using the name as bug or name as task, name as epic. Okay, it is more easy, right? So we can use like that. And then if you want to create subtask, you can also go and explore all these things. Suppose you want to do some changes, you can also add it there. Okay, so basically they're giving you all the options that you want to do. Okay, now we understood all this. Let's try to see whether it is up and running. Now it's, if you notice, we have to give a little bit of time after starting the Jira server. So now it is starting my Jira. Good. It is asking me for my username. I almost forgot my username and password. Okay, this is while doing the installation, it would have asked you, just use that. And if you also notice, it has some demo, something like this. Okay, some dummy issues created for you. Okay, so you can also go and search here. If you notice, there is already one defect that I have created using REST API. Okay, this is that defect. Okay, you can also try to create yours. So I have just used creating of an issue using project keys, whatever, some values I have given, and then I created this as a task. Okay, because this project, this dummy project that I have developed doesn't have bug type. Then I have to go to the settings and then I have to add the issues. Okay, I have to some, this was not initially having the issue types of bug, so I have to go here and manually add. Okay, add issue type as bug, and then I have to give like this. Okay, in previously it was not there. Okay, so if you are also not seeing the bug type here, go to add issue type, click select bug and give some description and standard issue type, and then click on add. Okay, then it will create a issue type of bug for you. Okay, good. And what else? We're trying to create a defect, right? So let's try to do it first. Let's not bother about it too much. Let's try to do the authentication and let's integrate with the framework next. Okay, first we'll try to create issue, and for that they mentioned some format. Okay, we'll try to follow that and we'll create it. Okay, so this is that. So you can use basic version of it, basic auth, or you can also use bearer token. So we will use a basic one. So yeah, and yeah, okay, then you guys might know by password. Okay, anyway, somehow, okay, you can also encode your password using base 64, but for now, okay, let's assume I'm passing the header, or like that's basically content type, right? So content type, it's content type .json. Okay, and after that, so I'm passing the header, and this is a post call, and I have to pass the username, right? So it is auth and dot basic auth. Okay, and okay, okay, some password, and okay, post request, and this is the input field. Okay, so this is the input JSON that we need to pass in the body. So if you notice, 1, 2, and 3, these are things that we may need to change. So what is the best approach to build this JSON? Any suggestion? We have different way of constructing a request body, right? What do you think might be the suitable one?
Uh, in this case, like Pojo will work.
Yeah,
Because
Poja also see 1, and then second, 3, 4 class you need to create, and then you have to do it. But for, yeah, you can use Pojo. Obviously Pojo is the best way out, but for time being I'm not doing it. Okay, let's go there. uh, let's go and create JSON. Okay, new file. Let me create a new file. Let's name it as request1.json, something like this. Okay, and paste it here. Now here I'll mention key. I'll use a capital letter so that while replacing it won't affect it. Description. So whatever, some description you can give, but I'm going to replace this at the runtime. Okay, so let's close this and let's go to the test here. And now in the body, okay, in the body basically I have to pass this. So that is from API utils, right? We have already written some code that read JSON and get a string and pass the path. Okay, the path is basically request one.json. Okay, once you pass that, you get the body, but maybe I'll create this. Okay, that I want to replace, okay, key with basically my project name. My project name is demo, okay, DEM. And then I also want to replace summary with let's say dummy defect, create whatever the summary you want to give. Okay, defect created using REST API. And then in the description you can also again do a replace of description, some description. Okay, okay, so this is your body and I'm pausing the body to it. And also you can make a post call to the particular endpoint. Okay, so they have mentioned use this endpoint, so let's copy this and let's go here. Okay, so for now you can also split it into base URI and endpoint, but for now I'm not doing it. Okay, that's it guys. So once you do this, you can extract the response. Okay, whatever, and we'll also add my password, so don't tell my password to anyone. Okay, okay, now let's try to run it, and let's also go here. No such file exception. Okay, maybe I also need to tell exactly which folder it is. So framework constants, right? I think framework constants. Get request JSON folder path, then plus say that slash. Okay, let me also check what is the path it is. It will give still JSON. Okay, now this should work. Notice, the request it is telling field summary cannot be set. It is on the appropriate screen or unknown. Field description cannot be set. It is not on the appropriate screen or unknown. Maybe this isn't working because bug type is something not working. Let's try with name as not bug. Okay, let's name it as okay a task. Okay, let's try to run it again. For now I am creating it as a task. Okay, maybe there is some problem with the way I created my bug issue type. Error messages field summary cannot be set. It is not on the appropriate. Okay, basic so fields key is correct. Okay, Defect created issue type, and it is still telling some error. Basically we are constructing correctly, so the key name of the project is dem. Okay, and then summary is also correct. Field summary can it is not on the appropriate screen or unknown. Okay, maybe let's not worry about the keys. I don't know. Maybe let's not deal about this for now. Just a minute. I don't know why it's not working. We are actually sending the way how they want. It should create. Don't have permission to create issue in this project. Issue type selected is invalid. Please try logging in first. I already used my basic authentication. Okay, there is something wrong here. I don't know. We're already using the way how they wanted. Okay, but still, okay. Let's try to check what they want. Okay, authentication. There are multiple ways of doing it. One is username, new session. Okay, I actually tried this in my basic authentication. There's notice username and password. So this is correct. We're actually doing that. It will actually create a basic and stuff. So the authorization tab is not being sent.
Can you check the URL which we are using?
No, I think the header's authorization is not being sent properly. Just a minute. But I am using basic auth. Okay, let's remove this. Sorry, remove this. Let me add it as a header directly.
Let's pass it as a header.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Try authorization and let's go to online base 64 encode. Okay. Okay, and let's put it here. Okay, now let's try to run it. Okay, it is still not working. Field summary cannot be said it's not, but I have already done this. Okay, I don't know why it is not coming. Let's or you also try using summary instead of summary. Okay, try with okay. Let's try to do it from Postman first. I want to make a post call. Let's not waste so much of time in this. First, let's try to do it in Postman once. I already worked out already. Yeah, let's see the basic auth. What is the basic auth? Okay, and now let's also pass the body, and the body is basically basically. It is getting created. Maybe the description is not getting replaced properly. Here it is getting created. If you notice, the dem08 dem-8 is getting created. Okay, here it is getting created. So as a task, all good. Let's go there, and this is also a task. Let's for now not worry about this. Let me give something like this. I don't know. Okay, key alone. Let me replace the auth demo. Okay. Let me replace demo. Okay, let's try to run it again. Okay, wait, this is not working. Okay, no. I have used authorization. It's not on the appropriate screen or unknown. Request one. The same thing is working there, but it's not working here. Change. You may also try with the header instead of under content type header. One last time, otherwise we will leave this for tomorrow, and then we'll continue with the remaining stuff. Okay, I think this is still not working. We will see why it is not working from rest assured, but we are doing almost everything correct. One yet is possible. Can you see any errors the way I work? It's all correct.
In that Amudan, in the documentation they are mentioning as the Jira version earlier to 8.4 and later to 8.4. Some differences are there in the URL.
Okay.
Is that might be the reason?
Yeah, but we are using
in the same initially you opened Jira REST examples in that.
Yeah, this is the one. So so they are asking us to process the project here instead of the key. Yeah, but it should work. Versions. Okay, let me check why it is not working, because I have used this in my office and it worked. Okay, it was an enterprise edition, and I don't remember what exactly I used, but yeah, that's not a big deal. But we will try to assume that it worked, and we'll try to build that in in our automation framework. Okay, let's close all the tabs. Okay, and let's go to main. We have utility, right? So let's also create an utility that creates an issue in Jira. Okay, so let me name it as Jira utils maybe, and this class gonna hold all the information like sending the request and other stuff. Okay, so maybe final and private Jira utils. I'll also create a method called as public like void create issue in Jira, something like this. And inside that, maybe I copy paste the code. Okay, whatever the code we have, I'll copy paste it. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So whenever there is a failure, again guys, you could have done better than this. Okay, maybe you could have used a Pojo for constructing the request body, but in this URL maybe you can feed it from the src test resources config properties. Okay, you can pass the Jira URL from here. Okay, so that someone wants to change it, you can change it easily. But for now I'm hard coding it, but you should know how we can put this in a configured properties, and even the endpoint also you can mention that. Okay, good. Anyways, for now let's go to the listeners. So whenever there is a failure, what I want to do, okay, on test success I don't want to do anything. Okay, whenever there is a test failure, at the time only I want to do something. Okay, what is that? I want to create an issue in Jira. So maybe I can call Jira utils dot create issue in Jira, but I also want to pass the throwable message, right? What is the error message? All those information I need to pass. So I'll copy it and I'll paste it. Maybe I'll do the change there. Okay, I'll make that to accept a string parameter, string error message, something like this. And whatever the error message that comes, okay, maybe you can replace that in the description, okay, or summary, whatever. Okay, maybe you have replace. Okay, I hope you all know how to do it. Okay, replace. And if you have a description or something like that, so the description you can just replace that description with the error message, whatever we have. Okay, the complete stack trace information. So now you have the constructor of the body, and it also carries the information that you want to create a defect. Again, this integration can be done in your Selenium framework, in your REST assured framework, in your APM automation framework as well. So anything that is fine. So the logic remains the same. Create a utility, put all the logic to construct the request and other stuff, and maybe at the end of the day you can return. So when we basically created a thing, so it has basically created a defect for us. So I want to get that information. Okay, so what I can do, return a response dot JSON path. I want to fetch that information, right? So get string. So I want to get the value of that. So that is a key. Okay, that is the issue that we created. Okay, once we create this, okay, we return this back to the particular guy, and in the test listener, now we are going to get, okay, introduce an, okay, and then we're gonna append it to the external logger dot fail and issue created in Jira. Okay, you can also give the full path. Okay, so let's say your endpoint will be something like this. Okay, so if you go here, your endpoint will be something like this. Okay, and so whatever the value that we created, issue in Jira, that's it. So now we are pasting the endpoint in the extend reports, so that once you see the extend reports, there is a failure, you go and click on it, it will take you back to the issue in Jira. Okay, so that's how you can configure, and it's a very simple process. I hope you all can do it. Okay, very good. Now we have understood about how we can create an issue or a defect or task, whatever, in Jira when there is a failure. Again, guys, if you have any doubts, you can ask me now. I know that was not working, but I'll try to debug it from my side and I'll let you know. Okay, maybe small changes we need to do, but I don't want to waste your time. Any doubts?
Amudan, I want to know that, is there any point of retrying the request if it is failing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you're asking me, suppose the first time it failed, second time you want to check whether it is failing or not. You want to retry the same request.
Yeah. So is there any point of
See,
retrying an API?
no, but basically, retrying is not a good approach. If it is a failing, it fails. That's it, right? So, but yeah, there are libraries like awaitility. Okay, awaitility. I don't know how many of you know about it, but yeah, this can be used to send or wait based upon your whatever the stuff you want to do. You can use this library. You can if you are really comfortable with Java 8, then you can use this library to make all these new requirements, cater all your new requirements. Okay, it's a brilliant library. I have used that in Selenium automation frameworks. This is for if you're having making asynchronous call, developers are using this library so much. Okay, so you can explore about this, and then but if there is a request that is getting failed, it's failed, that's it. You don't have to retry it. Okay, maybe you can get the what you can do for now is you can get the response code, check whether it is a success one, or if it is a failure, anything from 400 or 500, maybe you can apply another logic, and then you can try to call the hit the request again. But that is not a good approach. It has to work every time, every single time you hit it.
Yeah, Muthan, that was I'm asking like if like in UI there can be a possibility that if it is failing now, it can pass later because of some wait. But like in API, I don't see a point
No,
of
no, no,
like
no. It,
passing
it
it
is
again.
not like that. In API, everything should work. Okay. There is no flakiness. It's very robust. And most important thing is you don't spend a lot of time in finding the page objects, the XPath, CSS, all those stuff. You're not wasting time. You're not creating page layers, page methods, nothing. Construct the request, send it, get the response back, assert it. Very simple. If I was given an opportunity to work with Selenium or REST Assured, I choose REST Assured because that doesn't mean I don't know Selenium, but it's where I feel my job is easy. Okay, we are not, why we have to do so much of work when we can do very less work. Okay, so yeah, that's all about uh, you know the REST Assured framework. It's a very complete framework. It has all the capabilities. If you want to add more tests, it's very easy because we have request builders, we have API utils, everything, reports in place, everything can which can do the job for you. Okay, again, you can also make a switch. Okay, maybe you can make a switch, and then in the config or somewhere, something like create issue in Jira. Okay, if it is yes, then only you want to create the issue, otherwise don't create the issue, something like this. Okay, because I don't want to create an issue every time. Okay, only when you are doing a regression or something like that, then you can do it, because otherwise every time it will create an issue in Jira. Okay, so yeah, keep a config something like this, and then write an if conditions. Okay, maybe you can write an if condition to check. If it is yes, then only you send it, otherwise you ignore it, something like that. Okay, yep. And now we want to learn about OAuth. Okay, that's very important, right? Yesterday also I have given a small glimpse about what is a OAuth, but today we're going to see that in little detail. Okay, um, see, I cannot exactly find an I can use a Gmail API to demonstrate OAuth2, but it'll take at least 3 to 4 hours to explain that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply tell you guys what it is all about. I'm not going to basically try with an API and then explain it. Okay, it's very, very difficult. Okay, but in your company, if they are using it, you should be in a position to understand. Okay. Okay, for LinkedIn sign up, again, we have, let's click on this. So if you notice, it is asking me join with Google. Okay, if I clicking on this, see, it is taking me to new URL. So now it is asking me what is the email ID. And if you also closely notice, there is OAuth2 version 2. This is a kind of authentication. And the client ID who is requesting this is this particular guy. And the redirect URL is this. Okay, some vague information, right? So let me copy this and then open a notepad, put it here. Okay, so let's try to understand what it is all about. Okay, so there are certain things that we need to understand, guys. Okay, so pain. Now, the difference between OAuth and other basic authentication and bearer tokens is very small thing. Okay, um, let's say this is your server. Okay, let's assume that make my trip is requesting information from British Airways, whatever. Okay, now British Airways not only gives information to make my trip, but also to lot of cloud providers, right? So but this make my trip and British Airways has an agreement. Okay, so now some way they have to identify each other. Okay, then they are telling, okay, I will give you a client ID. Okay, I'll give you a client ID and a client secret. Okay, whenever you want to fetch some details from me, first you send okay, client ID, client secret, scope, okay, this information to me. Okay, once you send, suppose I give you client ID as 12334, your secret is ABCD 1234, something like this, and scope is I want to fetch flight information, fetch flight information. Okay, you want this, first you send this to me. Okay, you send me the client ID, client secret, and scope, what you want to do. Then I will validate whether your client ID is correct, client secret is correct, and then scope is correct. Okay, based upon that, depending upon the scope, client ID and client secret, I will send you one access token. Okay, once you send this, I will validate, and then I will send you back an access token. Okay, I will send you back the access token. That access token will be valid for 1 hour or 30 minutes or whatever whatever the agreement they have made, it will be valid for that particular time. Okay, then when you are sending a get flight search get call to me, okay, now once you get this information, you sending a get call to me. While sending that get call, okay, while sending the get call to me, like slash get flight info, while you send that get call, you also pass the token, whatever the token you fetched with me, you I given you, you also send that token in the header, access token as access token in the bearer. Okay, as a bearer token you have to send it, then only I will give you back the response. So previously in basic auth, while making the request itself, we are sending. Okay, so first, suppose you're trying to create an issue, you send directly, I want to create an issue, this is my username and password. So the server is doing two things. One, it is validating your username and password. Second, it is basically creating the defect for you. But in this case, it is two-step process. First, you send these things to me. Okay, based upon that, I will give you the access token. Okay, and then while you are making next request within 1 hour, you can pass the same access token and then get the information from me. Okay, basically for OAuth, okay, the in other cases the server will deals with authentication, all the flight info, everything. But in case of OAuth, people prefer to have a separate authentication server. This is your authentication or authorization server. So this is OAuth server. Okay, they call it auth server, and this is your info server. Okay, this is where from all the info you can fetch. But authentication, it will go to the whenever you are making an auth call, send it to this particular server. So most probably they will have an endpoint like this. Okay, /auth. Okay, something like this. Once you send the auth server, okay, it will you send this information, it will validate, it will give you back the it will give you back the access token in the fetch it and store it somewhere and then send it to me. While you send it to me, I'll send you back the response what you need. This is how the OAuth flow works. Okay, here also, if you notice very closely, uh, LinkedIn is actually requesting, okay, hey, this is my client ID. Gmail, I already have a deal with you, this is my client ID. Okay, and this is the redirect URL. I'll come to the redirect URI part, but apart from that, they also mentioning scope. I want to read the profile information and the email ID from the Gmail. Okay, that's what I want to do. Okay, this is the scope. Okay, and response type, I want the response in the code format or whatever, and then other further information. Okay, and the flow name is general OAuth flow. So basically they are sending all this information to the LinkedIn is sending this to the Gmail. Okay, and then those guys, now if you tell the email ID and then you sign in, now we are authorizing LinkedIn to fetch the information on our behalf from the Google. Okay, this is what it's happening at the back end. Okay, this is called as OAuth flow. So whenever you are thinking about OAuth, imagine about the valet key example that they are given. So imagine you are going to a 5-star hotel with your brand new car. It has you cannot give your main key, so most of the cars comes with the valet key. That only this valet key has only the access to your uh, you can only start and stop your car. It cannot do like opening your trunk, or it cannot open your fuel tank and other stuff. So yeah, valet key is a scope. Okay, it defines the scope. It can only start and stop the engine. Okay, so that's the valid key. How long you can do it? Maybe the time that you are in the 5-star hotel, that is the the expiry time. Okay, maybe 1 hour or 3 hours, whatever. Okay, after that, he will comes and picks the car back. Okay, the same way, this token will be valid only for 1 hour. Okay, any doubts in this? Okay, maybe I'll show the code from my office. Okay, how they are doing it. Okay, I'll show an example so that you can clearly understand how it works. Okay, so this is how it is, guys. Okay, so this is the code that I actually written for my office. Okay, so first, you are going to make a post call to the authentication endpoint. Okay, so if you notice, the auth endpoint is different and your server endpoint will be different. Okay, so it will have a different server for doing the authorizations. Okay, because there may be a lot of clients. For example, Gmail or is having a lot of clients. Okay, Facebook is using Gmail. If you want to create a Facebook account, you want to create any account, they can use Gmail. Okay, so they are having separate auth server to take care of all these things. Okay, and now given header and content type is application JSON, that's fine. And if you notice, I think this is an issue, so I just copy pasted and edited it, so this header might not be there. Yeah, content type is basically URL form encoded charset UTF-8. What is this? Okay, if you go to the Postman, and we also have something called as Postman echo that we learned. If you go to the post form data, okay, if you click on this, okay, this is how they will pass the form parameters. Okay, these are all called, we learned about what is path parameters, query parameters, and this is path parameters, key value. So here the key will be client ID 1234, and then we have client secret. Okay, some value, and then we also have the scope. Some people call it a scope. Okay, scope is basically profile. I want the profile information. Okay, you send like this and you hit on send. This is just an echo server. It will return you back whatever you passed. So if you notice, I passed this information in the form parameters, it's basically returning me back. Okay, the same way I have used form parameter of grant type is constants dot grant type. So I am not hard coding the value, I am fetching it from constants. Client ID also I am fetching it from constants value. And client secrets, basically I have encoded that into base 64, so I am decoding now, and then I am fetching the client secret. I'm sending a post call to the base URL plus auth endpoint, and I'm validating whether the response is 200. Once the OAuth is success, I'm actually fetching the access token. Okay, the access token will be sent in the response, so I'm using JSON path to get that access token. And while making the next call, I'm actually passing it in the header. So if you notice, authorization, bearer, and then the access token I'm passing in the header. So that's how the OAuth flow works. Okay, very simple. The only difference that you need to understand is from the query parameter and form parameters. Query parameters are most probably used in get request, but this is a post request, and there is no need to go to the send this information via body. So you can use form URL encoder. What does that mean? It means it will send it as a form parameters, and it will construct the same way like query parameters. Okay, it will have question mark, everything is going to remain the same. Okay, so if you notice, there is a question mark, client ID equal to value. This is how it was, right? So it will be like question mark key 1 equal to value 1, and the rate key 2 equal to value 2. Okay, this is how it is. But if there is a space, if there is anything that is apart from alphanumerics, okay, then it will do percentage encoding. Okay, now how can I understand what is percent encoding? Guys, if you notice, in the redirect URI, there is percentage 3a, percentage 2f, percentage 2f. After HTTPS, it is normally, we know that it will be colon double slash, right? So the colon is actually represented by percentage 3a, and slash is basically represented by percentage 2f. Okay, so it will do the percent encoding for all the characters other apart from the alphanumerics. Okay, so this is how it is. What is redirect URI? Okay, this is a new term, right? Redirect URI is something once the authentication is success. Okay, I'm doing authentication. Once the authentication is success, this Google, see, this is now handled by Google. Google will redirect you to linkedin.com Jenny finish auth this particular URL. So it will take you back to again LinkedIn page. Google don't know about it. Okay, Google don't know which LinkedIn page it has to navigate. So LinkedIn is already telling, hey, once the OAuth is success, you send them back to this particular URL. I will take care of the remaining. Okay, so that is what is called as redirect URI. This is not needed in case of the OAuth is happening via web services, because we are not redirecting people to anywhere. Okay, we just need the OAuth token and we can get it from there. Okay, once the OAuth is happening via website, it has to navigate back the user to some URL, and that's what is passed as redirect URI. Okay, good. Any doubt in this so far, guys? Any doubt? So you can also have a look at it. Okay, so OAuth is basically two-step process. First, you send all this information that is predefined to the auth server, get the token back, and whenever you are making the next request, pass the token in the bearer. Okay, as a bearer token, it'll take care of the stuff and then send you back the response. That's it. Very simple. Okay, but mostly the scope defines what is the permissions, everything. Based on the permissions only, it will create the token for you. The token will have all the information about what kind of scope it carries, how long it will be there, everything. Okay, that is a different topic on analyzing what is that structure of the token, how we can decrypt it. All those things are different, but for now just understand this access token will have all the information about who you are, what you can do. Okay, so finally, if someone is asking what is authentication, okay, it basically answers who you are. Okay, and authorization basically answers what you can do. Okay, this is some simple analogy, may not be entirely correct, but yeah, you can remember this with the help of these two questions: who you are, what you can do. Okay, guys, any doubts in this in OAuth?
Amutan, the token which we are getting in Postman, so like we have to save it in a variable and pass it to a
Yes,
body.
yes, you have to save it in the variable. So you know how to fetch the
Yeah.
response, how to parse the response and get the value. Just store it as a collection level variable and then feed it onto the next request.
Okay. Okay.
Amudan,
Yeah.
it is not regarding OAuth. May I ask one doubt?
Yeah.
Amudan, what is JWT and how it is different with OAuth, Amudan?
Okay, that is again another different topic. Again, that depends on the structure. Okay, you can watch. There are a lot of videos available in YouTube. Basically, again, I need to I need to have a sample JWT token and OAuth token to explain about that. But it's just the structure and how the way it behaves. Okay. Maybe I'll try to cover sometime, but otherwise you can always go googling. You should get the answer yourself. There are a lot of information available. Okay.
Okay.
Amutan, like one more thing, like there is a like very famous question like regarding the difference between OAuth 1 and OAuth 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like what is the difference you can answer?
But OAuth 1 is not at all used nowadays, guys. I don't know why people are asking it, but OAuth 1 is basically for your web clients. Okay, but OAuth 2 can also support the clients like Postman, Rest Assured, SOAP-UI, all those non-web web clients. Okay, so that's the big difference. But in terms of security as well, they have included certain things like scope, the client secret, and other stuff. So that's something that is different. But apart from that, there is not much difference, because in OAuth we have signatures. uh, People who knows only encryption logic and decryption logic can work with it. Okay, it's just a different way of doing things. Okay, you have to sign, there is something called as signatures and other stuff, but explaining that again, it will take a lot of time. And most importantly, it is not at all used nowadays, guys. Okay, even a lot of people remove the OAuth support also. Okay, so I don't know why still people are asking it, but if they ask it, there is a lot of difference. Okay, not just one or two. And it works on based on the encryption and decryption with signatures. In OAuth2 there is no such thing. Okay, we hit a auth endpoint, we get the response back, we fetch the access token, and then we send it to the server, and then we get the response back. So this is OAuth2.
Okay.
Okay, now a lot of people are asking what is cookie, what is cookie. You're not teaching about cookie. Okay, so cookie is very simple. Okay, why I have to wait for this long time to explain a cookie? Okay, so now let's assume you are making a get call to one endpoint, and it is sending you back that set cookie, and the session ID is 12345. This normally happens in terms of web clients. Okay, suppose you are hitting a server. Let's say I'm hitting makemytrip.com. Okay, the web server. Okay, now I go, I do a search and all the stuff. Okay, I didn't logged in. Okay, I didn't logged in, but still I maybe I add something to a cart, or almost I'm in payment page or whatever. In case of e-commerce website, you can imagine I have added a product to cart. How it remembers all those things. So next time, so if I go back, how it knows that it is going back to place where Delhi is there, Chennai is there, and departure is there. How it knows it? Okay, it is because the Chrome is basically saving the cookies. Okay, let's now go to the diagram and then again understand. Okay, when you're first time making the call to a server, okay, imagine this client, whatever you're seeing is a web client. Okay, like Chrome, Firefox, or Opera, or other internet browsers. Okay, the server will normally send you back set-cookie, which means next time you are making a call to me, okay, always send this session ID and the value. Then only I can clearly understand who is making the request, and I can cater your needs accordingly. So the next time the client send the request, okay, now the client is sending the request. This time it is sending a cookie with the value of session ID, a key as session ID, and the value is 12345. Now the server can understand, okay, this is the guy who actually called from this place, so I have to return him back to this particular page, everything. Okay, so based upon the cookie only, the Chrome, Firefox, everything is actually navigating you to correct pages. Okay, server is giving the response, but the server is understanding with the help of session ID. Okay, good. So this is what the use of cookies. And yeah, normally in the cookies you can also see this particular Postman echo doesn't have a stuff. Maybe you can try with something else. I'm not sure whether you can always get it. Yeah, different people use different ways. Okay, let's me do a makemytrip.com. So if you notice, I have hit this, and it is not having that set cookie values, because it may use different way of remembering the client. But yeah, maybe some other thing we can try, but I'm not sure which one uses this. So this is also not having this cookie parameter. So if you notice, the set cookie is coming back, actually headers. Okay, now the client will copy this and then store it at somewhere place, and then while sending the request, it will again set this cookie and then send it. Okay, yeah, so this is what the set cookie is all about. Okay, so yes, we have covered almost all the stuff, but we will understand what is the problem with the current existing framework. Now the framework will work absolutely fine if I try to run it from my pom.xml. Okay, maybe I'll open a terminal, and if I run my command here, mvn clean test, okay, it will work. But imagine you are sending this project to your client. Okay, your client will not have Java installed, not have Maven installed. Then how this command will work? Okay, and imagine you have developed a code in Java 11 or Java 14. Okay, so you have developed your code in Java 11 with all the advanced concepts and other stuff. Okay, and you also used Maven. Okay, and you are exporting this project, or you are putting this in GitHub. You are asking your client to Okay, you can run it in your machine. Okay, then he's asking, okay, give it me as a batch file or something so that I can run it. So you're giving it as a batch file. But even if you give it as a batch file, he needs to have Java installed, path set. Okay, Maven installed, Maven actually Maven path configuration that he has to do. Once you do this only, he can work. And that too, he has to install exactly Java 11. If you don't mention to that, then if you install Java 8, some of the code you have written might not work there. Okay, so he will complain, okay, whatever the code you have written is not working in my machine. Why this is happening? This is not at all good. Something like that he will tell. Okay, and then most importantly, they won't be ready to install all the softwares, all those stuff. Okay, it's very hard for them. Actually, we need to understand that's a pain. Okay, to avoid all these things, what if we can ship all these things together? Okay, I'm going to ship my Java plus Maven plus my test automation test framework, everything together. Then we need something called as Docker. Okay, I'm going to ship everything together, so he don't have to do anything. Okay, all he need to have is Docker desktop installed in his machine. Okay, once he has Docker desktop installed, he just type Docker. Okay, run regression colon latest. I want to run this. That's it. If you type this in command prompt, it'll run the test for him, and then it will produce the results. Which one is easy? Okay, obviously this is easy, right? Because this has a lot of efforts involved. But this Docker desktop is just a software. Anyone can install it, right? So it's just a software. Once you install it, everything will be up and running. Again, if you don't even have a Docker desktop, okay, you may ask him. You can configure a Jenkins. Okay, Jenkins you can configure. You can create an EC2 instance on the fly. You can create an EC2 instance on the fly in AWS. Okay, AWS EC2 instance, and then you can do Docker run regression latest. Once he starts that, okay, once he starts the Jenkins job, it has to actually create an EC2 instance. It has to deploy this image and then run the test and then send the notifications whether it is pass or fail. Okay, this time he will definitely be happy, because Jenkins URL is most probably he won't have local host. They will have enterprise edition jenkins.company.com. You can ask him, go to the job number, regression job, click on build now. That's it. Everything is taken care. Okay, now he will be very impressed. Okay, this guy really knows automation. Okay, so that's how it is, guys. Okay, so don't ever give the Maven project, ask the people to install all these things. Build a Docker image, send it to them, let them run the Jenkins job and then do it. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to cover the Jenkins job part. Maybe we'll create a image and then push it to the Docker hub, so that you guys can do Docker run and then whatever the repository name and then the image name and then the version of it. Okay, once you do that, it will run in your machine. You don't have to do any work. Okay, so that's how we are going to do it. Okay, for that we need to understand what is Docker, what is Docker image, how to build it. We're going to learn it tomorrow. Okay, any doubts?
Nothing. Then until now, I don't know much about containerization. So you explained it with a very simple and to the point example. Then thanks very much.
Yeah, this is what containerization, right? So we are containerizing all the necessary software into one container. That's it. Okay, you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, that's what is all about container. So I'm containing all the Java Maven test. This is what I have, right? I have only these three components. If I send them, if I don't containerize it or containerize it into one component, okay, these all will be three different components. And there are issues can happen in Java. There are issues that can happen in Maven. There are also issues that can happen in your test framework. I don't want to do that. I will containerize everything into one single component. I'll give it to the clients. They can run it in the way they want. Okay, so that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, guys. That's all for today. Any doubts? Any more doubts? Otherwise, we'll wrap the session. Okay, don't worry too much about the OAuth, guys. I know I could have created a Gmail client ID, all these things, but as long as you can see this code, understand this code, what it is doing, that is more than enough. Okay, when you really face an issue in your company, then you can call me, but this code, the sample snippet of code will work. Okay, you just need to watch this video again, or you can it's also there in my repository. I can also ping you the details. Just use this code and then work with it. Okay, very simple. Don't worry too much about the OAuth 2 and all. If your project is implementing that, then you can worry about it. Okay, otherwise, you know you don't have to worry about it. Just make sure that you understand what is grant type is basically scope. Okay, some people use grant underscore type, some people use scope. It depends upon them. Okay, and then client ID, client secret, whatever. Okay, and then we'll send it back to them. You'll get the response back. That's it. Okay, you need to know only certain parameters. Okay, if they're asking what is this thing, okay, some important thing, what is the scope, what is redirect URL, what is client ID, client secret, access token. Resource is basically what is the information that we are trying to access. In case of LinkedIn, we are trying to access the email, the profile, and other stuff. That is the resource. Who is the resource owner? That's the user, as Mudan. Okay, who is the client here? Client is LinkedIn. Who is the server? Server is Gmail. Okay, so because Gmail is serving the information that is required by LinkedIn. Okay, so the client is basically LinkedIn and the server is Gmail. Okay, so these are some of the components or the terminologies that is used pretty often with OAuth. So just know about it. That's it. That's more than enough. Okay, guys, you all have a very good day. We'll connect tomorrow. We'll have a class tomorrow, and then we'll get started with Docker. We'll try to understand basics of Docker, and we'll build the Docker image. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you.